Welcome to special Saturday on Texas football edition. We're at the practice field in Orlando where Texas is having their Saturday practice. We had a little bit of 8-10 minute media window availability, not a long one. We got to watch the team walk out for practice, got to watch a little bit of offense. CJ, your initial observations from that short media window.
Short media window, but the team's looking cheesy, I'll tell you that. No, they're out there right now, right behind us today, Jerry. I mean, look, it sounded to me as we walked out there, we got to watch a little bit of the stretch lines. It was Parker Livingston that broke out the team. He had some enthusiasm in there as well. The team sounded like they were ready to get after it for a little bit of a practice, but altogether, look, Arch Manning's out there and the entire starting offense is out there, and that was basically my takeaway today.
Yeah, a couple of interesting things, though, as players were walking out for practice. Andre Kojo had pads on, no helmet. So he was actually out there stretching him out a little bit. He's getting more back into football, I think, shape, football rhythm right now. Yeah. Again, no helmet. He was the only guy that wasn't on the practice field that was injured, but still had pads on, and they were starting to get him back into some football activities, you could tell.
I'll say this, and I know the season's kind of, it's been up and down, but the one thing that's been consistent, and knock on whatever wood I can find, basically, but they've been healthy out there. And to see Kojo already getting back into, football activities, I think is fantastic. I'll tell you this, we saw, obviously the team walked by us as they took the field. Smith Orogbo, Gerry. Oh, my goodness. That looks like someone who's taking care of their redshirt year. Yeah. He looks night and day different than when he stepped foot on campus around this time last year.
Still wears the right knee brace. Maybe still a little hitch in his giddy up, but physically looks great. A couple other things we know before we get into who is the first team offense, but more importantly, who is second team defense. Yeah. It's wind's going to be blowing here. Is Colton Vosick still wears the left shoulder contraption. Justice Terry wears one of those as well. Doesn't keep him from playing. Just some observations we had. CJ, let's talk about that first team offense. Obviously, Wingo had a really good catch against Cade Phillips from what we saw. Arch threw a beautiful ball. It's a windy day here, obviously, in Orlando, as I'm holding the computer right now so it doesn't blow away and y'all get the views you don't want, which maybe the views you should have won are not us, but in Florida. But what Christian Clark, the first team reps, first team offensive line as expected, first team wide receivers as expected.
Yeah, we'll start with Christian Clark because obviously Texas down another running back as of yesterday morning. He did get the first 3 reps that we saw with the first team. Of course, right behind him is then James Simon, Michael Terry expected to get some reps as well. Ryan Niblett still getting some run with the running backs as well. But then going to wide receiver in place of DeAndre Moore is Dalen McCutcheon. Yep. And so working with that second team that we saw today was, of course, the 2 talented freshmen. That was Jamie French, Khaleke Lockett, and Parker Livingston. Yep. But right now, and we heard the coaches, as they were taking the field for that first 3-4, plays of their, ones-on-ones there, they said, go Dalen, go Dalen, go Dalen. So Dalen McCutcheon being inserted into that first team offense.
So Wingo, Emmett Mosley, Dalen McCutcheon. And that's the natural fit with DeAndre Moore, obviously. Hitting the portal, going to the NFL, whatever he ultimately decides. First team offensive line, as expected, obviously left to right, no change there. Gooseby, Hudson, Robertson, DJ Campbell, Brandon Baker. Anything you notice? Cade Phillips had really good coverage on Ryan Wingo on a contested catch. We have that video for you guys. Anything else you noticed on first team defense? Potentially?
Xavier Filsaime back deep with Jelani McDonald, who is practicing today. Yeah. Next, and we commented this as we were walking off the field, Brad Spence getting true off-ball looks. Yes. Texas, of course, very thin at the linebacking position. He was back there with the first team defense as a true linebacker today as well.
It was interesting on second team defense. Let's transition to second team defense. It was interesting to see Jordan Johnson-Rubel lined up as a middle linebacker at 5'10", 190 pounds. I was like, maybe this is Celebration High School football season right here. It's a 5'10", 190-pound middle linebacker.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Just real quick, I'll go through the entire starting 11. It was Lance Jackson, Colton Vosick on the edges, your interior. I know this gets Texas fans excited. Myron Charles and Josiah Sharma. Yep. And then moving back to your linebacking unit, that's Bo Barnes, Jordan Johnson-Rubel, as we talked about. Wardell Mack was at the star position. Your cornerbacks were Caleb Chester. And look, I still think there's some movement with the corners as well. But, we saw Kobe Black get some run there. Obviously, Grayson Littleton with the first team. And then, of course, Jonah Williams and Zealous Hicks back deep for that second team defense.
Your second team defense. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of what happens in these bowl games now is all the questions you guys asked us in the chat. we're looking around, you see more of the freshmen
on
the field than you've seen, even in the short media window like we had. Again, CJ, this is a second practice. They practiced yesterday afternoon. The team got into Orlando a little late. They had a flight delay, got into the hotel around 2:30 East Coast time. They were on the practice field at 5, had some team activities last night, had some meetings this morning. Now back on the practice field at 11:30. It is East Coast time, so 10:30 Central. They got some more meetings, team activities this evening. But CJ,
let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Because, we went through the first and second team, right? We heard, Colton Vossick's name, Lance Jackson running with the second team. We didn't see Justice Terry, but we do expect him to be a big piece of this game as well. Just so folks, don't freak out or anything just like that yet.
We saw Justice Terry walk out on the field. We expect him to get his reps and play. He was nobody. The only player that was on the scholarship player on the sidelines not taking part was Andre Kojo.
Yes.
Everybody else was in full pads and helmet and taking part in warm-up. So the only scholarship player that was not on the field that was injured was Andre Kojo, which is good news for heading this game.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And all the quarterbacks were out there. Matthew Caldwell, look, again, I don't know how much we'll see of Arch Manning in this game, but Matthew Caldwell, KJ Lacey, they remained right there warming up with him as well.
I posted a few team notes on ontexasfootball.com this morning, and one of those notes was how high people are on KJ Lacey. How well, he played last spring. We heard about it. But how well he's handled his redshirt year. And look, he's put on a little bit of body armor. He's not going to be a big guy. I bet he taps out at 5'11", 205 one day.
We'll round that up. 6 foot.
Maybe 6 foot. He may get mad at me. But let's say 5'11 and a half, 205 is probably where he's going to tap out. But from everything I was told out and about in Orlando yesterday, it's his feet and his reactive quickness, all that the speed of the game. People think about the speed of the game. A lot of times the speed of the game isn't even up in your mind. It's in your feet and your body reacting to things.
Yep.
And I think what KJ Lacey happened for him almost immediately in college after he enrolled was his feet remained calm and quiet under pressure, and his body, the reactive quickness to pressure, there wasn't much of an adjustment there for him, and that allowed him to become a playmaker early on because he was going to pick up the system fast playing at Saraland for Jeff Kelly, who was a tremendous offensive coach. He played in a similar system in high school, so some of the terminology he was already accustomed to and working with Coach with David Morris in the Mobile area. He was really good friends with Sark and Millway.
Yeah, the thing with Lacey that really stood out to me in the middle of the year was when Sark, he was asked, hey, you brought Lacey with you on the road. You left a guy who had been on campus for 2 years at home. What did you think about the change? What went into that change? He said, look, for whatever it's spring football, fall camp, any type of practice, when KJ Lacey's on the field, the ball moves.
Yep.
And that's word for word for what Sark said. So, look, I've always thought there was going to be a high ceiling for KJ Lacey. But it sounds like from behind the scenes, Gerry, that, folks wearing the burnt orange or around practice, whatever it is, they certainly see a high future as well.
Yeah. So again, we're here in Orlando, Florida. CJ Vogel, myself. You can probably hear the practice noise in the background, a horn in the background as Texas is going through their second full practice. There will be player availability later, so we'll be back here to update you guys on what the Texas players said following the practice. For CJ, I'm Gerry Hamilton. Thanks for joining in this special Saturday Texas football practice edition of OTF.